energy of fear, because fear is said to be the demon of the first chakra. So let's look at, first of all, what the first chakra is about. The first chakra is about your survival, okay? It's about your physical body, your connection to the earth plane, your culture, your religion. It's about the society that you're raised in, the people that raised you, so it's about your upbringing, your childhood. So it's all of those kind of things that a lot of them are to do with that early part of your life. The people that you rely on for your survival, your family, etc. So recently I asked myself this question: am I struggling with fear? And at first I thought to myself, no, I don't think so. I mean, apart from being scared of like a spider, I'm not really scared of anything. I don't feel like I'm carrying a lot of fear in me. But that was because when I was thinking of fear, I was thinking of it in terms of like something really obviously scary, right? Something big that would really scare me to my core. And I thought, I'm not really dealing with any, fearful situations. So I just thought, no, I don't think I'm struggling with fear. But then on closer examination, I thought to myself, actually, I think today fear tends to manifest in a lot more subtler ways in our daily lives. Fear, you see, isn't necessarily being afraid of a tiger jumping out of a bush and it's going to attack you, or, most of us don't have to worry about things like somebody holding a gun to our head, do we? When I thought about this, I thought, actually, I think in reality, for most of us, the person really holding the gun to our heads is us. We are the ones that keep ourselves locked in fear, and we allow fear to really control us, right? Because it's things like, it's little things, it's mundane things like worrying so much about being late for work. Yeah, because you're afraid your boss is going to shout at you, or you're afraid to have an honest and open conversation with someone because you think that that person's going to get offended, or a fear of speaking in public, a fear of applying for a job because you think you don't have the right skills and you're probably just going to fail at the interview stage anyway, so why bother? Or too afraid to cook a family meal in case nobody likes it, or afraid to take your kid out in public because they might embarrass you if they misbehave. So fear can literally govern our lives, okay? It can stop us from doing things. It can really hold us back in our lives, right? And a lot of the times it is just us projecting things into the future, worrying about something that may never even happen, right? That prevents us from doing something, or we're living in the past and therefore fearful of doing something in the present, okay? It's crippling us in the present moment, like you did your back in and now you're too afraid to bend over and pick up that pencil in case you do your back in again. So fear is the demon of the first chakra, okay? And your first chakra governs your legs, your feet, right? Your hips, your pelvis, your lower back. And I actually asked myself, I thought, okay, if fear is the demon of the first chakra, does that mean that really all of our fears perhaps they just come down to survival, right? When we think about the fear of losing a job, now that's a pretty obvious one. That definitely hits us in our first chakra, and it really, you know, hits us in our survival needs, right? Because if you lose your job, you know, you're worried that you're not going to have enough money to pay your bills, and you need to be able to pay your bills, and you need to be able to buy food because your survival depends upon that, right? But what about something that is less obvious, like fear of losing a friendship? Yeah, fear of having an honest conversation with someone because you're worried you're going to lose that friendship. Is that to do with survival? Well, when it could be, you know, because if we dig a little deeper and we ask ourselves the question, okay, why would I be afraid of losing someone's friendship? Because most of us want to feel connected to someone. Feeling connected to someone is important. Most of us don't want to lose an important relationship or an important bond with somebody, right? And if our first chakra is also to do with the connection that we share with our family and our tribe, these are people that we depend upon in the early part of our lives, right? For our survival. You know, we depend on these people to support us. Or if we look at the example of, you know, I'm afraid to take my kid out in public. I know this seems like a bit of a weird example, but this is a very personal one for me, actually. So, okay, why are you afraid to take your kid out in public? Well, I'm worried he's going to misbehave. Well, why does that bother you? Because people will think that, you know, he's really naughty, and they're going to think that it's because of my parenting. They might think that I'm a bad parent. Well, why does it bother you if people think that you're a bad parent? Well, I just don't want people to think that, because I don't want to be judged that way by people. I would rather people think that I'm a good parent, right? Because I'd rather people like me. Well, why do you want to be so liked by people that you don't even know? Because it's important to feel liked because it makes me feel accepted by others. Why do you need to feel accepted by others? Well, when we think about when we are born into this world, when we come into this world, right, we're born. We need our family to accept us. We need our mother to accept us, right? We need a warm welcome into this world. As a baby, there is nothing that we can do for ourselves. Okay, we heavily rely on our mother and our father to take care of our needs, for them to feed us, for them to clothe us, for them to provide shelter for us, right? So all of our survival needs are dependent upon our family when we are little. Okay, until we grow up and we're independent enough to take care of ourselves. So, you know, people that have been abandoned, let's say, by their biological families, even if they've had, you know, a great upbringing and they were raised by a family that perhaps adopted them and gave them everything they needed and loved them and nurtured them, sometimes, you know, that fear of abandonment is still there. You know, why wasn't I accepted by my biological family? You know, if you are somebody that has abandonment issues, then that may hit you in your first chakra of survival. Now, in this book, which is Wheels of Light, and it's written by Rosalind. She was an internationally acclaimed healer, a clairvoyant, and an ordained minister, and she founded the Healing Light Center Church in California, and she actually went on to train other healers, one of them being Barbara Brennan. And in this book, she has written quite a lot actually about the first chakra. And so I was looking at a section in here where she speaks about fear, and she says that inflammation in the body is caused by fear and anger. That if there is long held fear in our bodies, it will eventually manifest as inflammation in the body. And she basically says, she says in here that while our own fear tends to be centered in the first chakra, if we are afraid for another, that fear may tend to move from our second chakra into our first as well. In other words, the body will tend to sense all fear in the first chakra. And she speaks also about fear of life and of feeling, okay? Of having a fear of life and a fear of feeling often will drive people into chronic pain. Pain patients displace all of their red energy, anger, rage, fear, and passion in order to avoid feeling alive. Now, that made me think of people that may be suffering with severe depression. Are these people displacing all of their red energy? You know, and what about people that are not really necessarily depressed, but have trouble fully engaging with life? You know, a lot of us actually have a tendency to live in our heads, okay? A lot of us have a tendency to pull all the energy out of the lower chakras and up into the upper centers, right? And we're very mind oriented. We don't fully engage with life in the present moment, and that can really take us out of our physical bodies. Does that mean that we are displacing